So let's take a moment to see what's going on in Somalia. Let's get into it.
Somalia Hanulato! Somalia Hanulato! Somalia Hanulato! Somalia Igea! Somalia Igea! Somalia Igea! Amaga Igawa, Jacob Frey, Yarub! Doka Magalada, Minneapolis!
Excuse me?
Minneapolis.
Yeah, I'm sorry, folks. Is there a Minneapolis in Somalia? Am I missing something here? Okay. Yeah, here's the thing. As an African-born American citizen who went through a rigorous 10-year process in order to become a naturalized citizen, I believe in that process. I believe in attempting, if you are invited to come into one of these Western nations, to assimilate to the culture, to become a beneficiary as well as a benefitor of that system. So we're not going to, it's not one-sided, right? There's a reason you're going, because you're going to be benefited in some sort of way. Not by the welfare system, but instead by your own two hands and your own noggin, right? I believe in that system. I believe in controlled immigration. But what we are currently seeing, folks, I've been to Minnesota. I didn't travel much. I was at a very specific location doing music-based stuff. I'll just leave it at that. And I guess I didn't really get to see Minnesota, right? Maybe I got some people listening out there who are from Minnesota. Shout out to Tampon Tim out there doing absolutely nothing.
Hanulato! Somalia Hanulato! Somalia Hanulato!
Okay. Yeah, no, I've seen enough. All right, so here's the thing. When it comes to the problem of immigration, what I've come to realize is this, and I've seen this and covered a multitude of stories from, this coast to that coast to over the pond and above and beyond. What I've noticed is that when you bus in, when you fly in, when you open your doors up to an influx of people from another culture completely, not only without vetting, but without any guarantee that these people are going to be an addition to your society, you're doomed. I mean, from the very moment that you decide that this is going to be a part of your overall framework, your social fabric is going to be torn in half. You're going to suffer as a byproduct. Now, some people say, America was built by immigrants. The reason why America is what it is because of immigrants. It is a nation of immigrants. And to that I say, that's a half truth. America is a nation of settlers. America is a nation of individuals who created this thing. The first people who came onto those shores on the East Coast had nothing. There was no America. There was no Section 8. There was no EBT. There was no welfare. There was no WIC. There was this, your two hands, and this right here, your old noggin. That's all there was. And what your experience became was what you made of it. And that's something I feel we take for granted more times than not, right? When you are somebody who comes into the United States now, especially illegally, especially in a blue city or blue state, you're given a care package as you break in. It's like somebody breaking into your house, and the first thing you do is you feed them, you show them to their room, right? Show them all the appliances that they can use. This is somebody who broke in. That's the equivalent of what we're currently going through right now. When America was founded, that's why it's called the founding, right? The founding fathers, they literally had to create it. America was imagined into where it is. The idea, the construct of it, all of it had to be imagined. There was nothing, then there was something, because people actually had to do something. I know that's a wild idea for most to fathom, right? To really sink your teeth into. There was a rubble. There was dirt. There was some shanty towns. There were shacks, right? Whatever people were piecing together. There was no corporation to go. There was no resume you could turn into somebody. You got a piece of metal and you started working on that piece of metal and you said, I am now a blacksmith, right? You got some cowhide somehow, some cow skin, and you now said, I am a cobbler, creator of shoes. Buy from me. Okay, we have no market. Then okay, let me trade with the blacksmith, right? Like this stuff had to be created into its position. Now you have people who can come in, swarm in. And I don't know all these people's story, but what I do know is that there's an influx of people who are here because of the welfare system. They're being upheld by the welfare system. And there are many foreigners who come in and they crush it. They do absolutely everything in their power to build, to create, and to benefit the society. But when we have this unadulterated people pouring in, and on top of that, pouring in without any level of true assimilation. Some people think that's a curse word. It's like, I'm giving up who I am for the sake of the white Westerner. Well, first and foremost, you came here because there was something that you saw here that you didn't see back home. So why would you not choose to assimilate to something that you believe is going to be a benefit to your life? That would be my first question. You're going to come into somebody else's home and they set out their rules and you say, you know what? Nah, I got my own thing over here. Really? And it's sad because in this specific example, we have an individual, and I know some of y'all waiting on me to talk about this part, but Ilhan Omar, who is a congresswoman, who is essentially, she is this, right? She has been a beneficiary of the American system, but yet she and herself, again, I don't know how these people feel about America, but she has a disdain for America. She says that America has become one of the worst places in the world, yet she stays here with her white husband, mind you, even though the white man is the biggest threat in the world. This is out of Ilhan's own mouth. She says these things as a Congress member in the United States of America, Somali born, Somali raised. Like, you know, some people have asked, man, are you going to run for office at some point, etc.? I will see. If that's what I'm called to, I will see. Simple as that. But I would be willing to give that up if it did mean that in Ilhan Omar and those kind of people weren't able to run for office. I really would. I would give that aspect up just to know that they can't be, because they will incentivize, they will essentially propel these people to not assimilate. You're lifting up the flag to a nation that you escaped, evaded, ran from in celebration of that nation. And some of these very same people would spit on, piss on, burn an American flag. Assimilation, assimilation, assimilation. If you do not have a culture that can assimilate, you don't have the ability, then just don't go to that country. Go somewhere else. If you have communist, socialist tendencies, I would suggest North Korea, maybe mainland China, Venezuela for sure, some of these places. I would recommend those sorts of places. If you believe Sharia law should be globalized, I would suggest going to an Arabic country. I would suggest, Qatar, Emirates, maybe even Iran if you really wanted that hardcore, that gangster. Then you can go ahead and go to one of those nations if that's what you want to do. But if you think you're bringing that and then going to flip people into what you believe that it is your role to convert the people in whom you are going onto their land to live, you got another thing coming. You got another thing coming. If you think that you do not need to do anything different than you were doing back home, you've got another thing coming. So yeah, Minnesota, I don't know what to say for y'all besides good luck. Best wishes. Vote blue no matter who, and you continue to step in poo. The end. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. Now, if you'd like to stay around, make sure to click that little subscribe button down there, or you can show some love by going to the description below and clicking on the button titled Buy Me a Coffee. Leave a little something there, or click on the Cash App. Leave a little something here. Till the next time, peace.
I fell in love with the sunshine. I fell in love with the light. I fell in love with the full moon. I fell in love with the night. I can see the light again. I can see the light. You can see the life in him illuminate the night. I know the time is taking. A 3-6-5, that's a full rotation. I see you looking up, you know them constellations. Constantly gazing like house of praises, you get to praising.